Finally, we got it. This is the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and a review of another new Pixel is a must, because every year Pixel indeed rolls out interesting updates, and this time Google managed to create an almost perfect smartphone. Finally, the design is refined, a new processor, upgraded cameras, and of course new AI features as usual. Finally, for the first time ever in the history of Pixel, the new smaller Pro version, 6.3-inch display with the same 5x zoom. And everything seems to be great, but nah, not everything. Despite the fact that I really like this design, I mean the look, the feeling in the hands, and overall premium ambience, despite all of these facts, of course there are some people who didn't appreciate the design. Some might say it looks so-so or controversial, but you know, to me, I really enjoy it. Finally, there are generally a lot of pros, but also quite a few cons. In fact, it's the same cameras. It is not an entirely new processor. It's just a little bit upgraded with almost 10% power increase. There are still some annoyingly bad transitions between cameras. And indeed, there is no 8K video recording, which we'll talk about that. And again, despite these nuances, I still consider this generation is the best Pixel ever released. But is it the best smartphone on the market today? Well, I'm not gonna give you the right answer for sure. There's no dispute about taste. Everyone makes an own decision. But what's more interesting, this year for some reason they presented this new Pixel much earlier, because they used to release in October each year. But anyway, it's a pretty nice move, Google. Unexpected. And Google has really started to believe in itself, releasing a device for $1,100 with only 128 gigs of storage. Well, now it's completely way far from the concept of an affordable flagship. And overall, the main focus this time is on the efforts in artificial intelligence, which I'm gonna talk about just in a bit, so that's why without further ado, the unboxing, the design, and so on step by step. The guys redesigned the packaging, stylish and unusual with these tabs. In a nutshell, we got a glitzy box. There's a new thing about the packaging this year. It's fully recyclable, so it's sort of a paper packaging instead of plastic that they've used before. As always, there is environmentally friendly nothing in the box, but they did include a metal SIM ejector tool. So it's just your standard 1 meter USB-C to USB-C cable. As usual, 2.0, not braided or anything like that, just a typical Pixel cable, wrapped a little bit differently than we've seen before. And of course, the phone itself. And if we pull this out gently, and voila, we now have a reusable phone case. As we saw, it's clear that there's nothing inside except cable. But of course, the main change is the design and the new colors. By the way, look nice. We'll talk about the colors, storage options, and prices in detail just in a bit. But in regards to design, I can tell you right away, this piece of creation definitely feels more premium than the previous Pixels. And I did buy it right away. I was liking the similar design approach since, remember iPhone 5? With those angular, rugged shapes, it really stands out visually. Now the metal frames are flat, the edges are neatly polished, so that's why any of the 9 series Pixels now feel more confident and simply magical in the hands. Of course, there's a bunch of discussion in the network that Google has no vision and just copied the iPhone's design, etc. Well, I know there are Chinese brands copying Apple, they have their path and idea, but Pixel never tried to look like Apple until now. And yeah, it does look identical, but there is nothing wrong with that, because the Pixel still looks great. Finally, I'm enjoying it. And you know what's more interesting? Although the phones look similar, on the other hand, this is like a true Pixel. I like the fact that they managed to preserve the recognizable design code while significantly refreshing the overall look. It has no longer any curved edges, the buttons are in the same places, they got some satisfying clicks, though you have to press the buttons a bit harder compared to this iPhone 15 Pro Max, like you might hear, I guess. The glossy metal frame is still here, and it's more of a drawback than a benefit, because at any impact, even with the case on, the metal unfortunately dents easily. There's no any titanium finish, and on top of that, this glossy polished frame also attracts fingerprints like crazy. But the backside is out of matte finish glass. But on the regular Pixel 9, everything is exactly opposite. Matte frames and a glossy body. And because of the matte frames, of course, it'll grip the hand better. I wish they could make it all matte in the future. It would look just a perfection. The camera bar is now the same color as the body, and it looks kind of thicker now, and all in all still draws attention. So on the bottom section, it's a typical Pixel. It has a USB-C. Now it is 3.2 Gen 1 standard, which means you're guaranteed a transfer speed of 5 gigabits per second. There used to be a slow 2.0 version. We have a SIM card tray. They've removed it from the side on the Pixel 8 Pro and put it on the bottom. We've also got a speaker and a microphone. On the top, it looks like we've got our millimeter wave antenna with another microphone, and then on the right hand side we've got a power and volume buttons. So on the camera bar we got LED flashlight and a temperature sensor. It is now improved as well, where you can now actually monitor the temperature of yourself, where you couldn't really do that before, or it wouldn't give you an accurate reading. We will make a test just in a bit. This tiny hole right next to the cameras is a rear facing microphone, and there's also some kind of tiny sensor or something. I don't know what that is, as well as these two almost invisible two sensors, which I couldn't find the info about. Google didn't provide anything on those. But if you know something, let us know in the comment section down below, and I'm gonna pin that comment. By the way, this generation is a little thinner, 8.5mm versus 8.8mm on last year's 8 Pro. And just for fun, 15 Pro Max is a little thinner at 8.25mm. Talking about weight, this new XL is heavier by 8 grams than the previous 8 Pro. But interestingly, my scales showed by 1 gram heavier than the official claim. But they both weigh exactly identical. And anyway, I don't know why Pixel feels a little bit lighter in the hands. So overall, I think you won't even notice all of those new tiny differences in weight and thickness. But let's move to the fact that the lineup has become more diverse. We now have the regular Pixel 9. The Pro version is available in 2 sizes. XL with a 6.8-inch screen and a slightly smaller Pro with a 6.3-inch screen. And recalling what design Pixel 4 and Pixel 5 have had, like compact and cool, I was really waiting for a small Pro version, and Google eventually realized that the people needed a portable smartphone with Pro features, and voila! I'm really happy. So yeah, now there's a compact Pro with all the same AI features and cameras as the Pro XL. I mean, same new telephoto lens with 5x zoom. It has the same premium materials. Of course, the screen size and battery are smaller, but otherwise, it's the same smartphone. You know, I'm sure it'll be in high demand because big pixels are great, but not everyone wants such large devices. And of course, there's a Pixel 9 Pro Fold, not the Pixel Fold 2, but the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which Google considers such naming would make things easier. Consequently, the lineup has generally become wider, and that's great. And out of all of these new devices, this 9 Pro is definitely my personal favorite. I'll explain why, and by the way, I bought it with $200 off. As for the colors, all of them look beautiful, no questions. I got here the hazel color, sort of iPhone's natural titanium one. There are also porcelain, obsidian, and a new matte color called rose quartz. Finally, we have some decent color options, but on the regular Pixel 9, this pink is more vibrant, and there's also winter green. These two colors are very appealing to me. For some reason, they removed the beige color this time, which some people might be missing, but you can buy such cool cases from Google in various colors, as well as mouse and Bellroy cases got quite catchy colors. And I actually bought several really interesting magnetic cases, especially this one with a 360 built-in versatile stand, which of course I'm gonna show all of them in detail just in a bit. So all in all, from my point of view, all of these new Pixels colors look much cooler now, sort of expensive, I would say, more premium and professional. Another interesting point is that Google is still being a bit stingy by not offering enough storage. The minimum option is 128 gigs. I mean, come on Google, it's 2024. The minimum should be 256 gigs, but no, it's still 128. And what's funny is that the configuration of this expensive Pixel 9 Pro XL, 16 gigs of RAM with just 128 gigs of storage. I've never seen such weird ratio in smartphones before. As a maximum storage, you can choose up to 1 terabyte, but only in a black color. But if you want to buy a rose color, it comes only with 256 gigs, which is kind of weird. And the rest of 2 colors goes up to just 512 gigs. As I said, out of all of these new devices, my personal favorite is the 9 Pro. I think 6.3 inches, that's gonna be plenty for me because I've been using this 6.7-inch iPhone. At the same time, I was using the OnePlus 12, which is even bigger bigger. This time I wanna go portable with classic obsidian color. And you know what? Talking about prices, the original price is 1 grand for the Pro version and 1100 for the Pro XL. But actually I bought this Pro XL for $1100. But as you can see, I got here a $200 Amazon gift card included. So practically that means I bought it with $200 off. As well as I bought this smaller Pro version with the same $200 off. And yeah, I think I'm gonna keep the smaller one. Of course, Google made a release date in a tricky way. The Pro XL is 10 days earlier than this one, because they know the smaller version is a total fresh size product and that's gonna be in a great demand. But if you have a hard time to choose whether to go with smaller Pro or bigger Pro XL, I think that difference for $100 easily justifies a bigger screen and a battery. So all in all, it's of course worth it, but it totally depends on your preference and tasks. But I wish they could put in at least 256 gigs for XL for 1100. That would be so dope actually. Now, as far as battery goes, there's no significant increase. It has 5060 mAh battery, just 10 mAh larger than the previous 8 Pro. Of course, it's not the largest battery we've ever seen. Chinese brands got overkill capacities, but it's quite enough for full day tasks. And as an option, you can get up to 100-hour battery life with the extreme battery saver on. Battery share is also available. So all in all, what do we got? I fully charged it in the morning and I've been using it for a whole day. Mostly I watched YouTube videos, nothing crazy. 5 hours and 35 minutes of a screen time and still has half of a battery life remaining. So according to my test, I think it can potentially get you somewhere about 2 days of use, but of course it totally depends on how you use your device. Nevertheless, Google claims it has a fast charging up to 70% in 30 minutes using this Google's new 45-watt USB-C charger. Of course, it's not included in the box, but it's not going to be charging devices with 45 watts, but only 37 watts for Pro XL and 27 watt for Pixel 9 and Pro. And you know, according to people's experiences, in order to reach that high 37 watt speed, you gotta be at somewhere close to 0% battery life in ideal low temperature threshold. And that fast charging speed gonna be only for a dozen of minutes or so before scaling down to lower rates. So I ended up doing my own experiment. I used this 100-watt Anker charger brick. By the way, this is the best super versatile charger you can get for the money. So I always use it to juice up my M3 Max MacBook Pro and this 240-watt fast charging cable with LED display. And I intentionally drained the battery to 1% and it showed the highest maximum speed just 25 watts. And in my test, it took 40 minutes to get 70% battery. Of course, it's not like crazy fast charging speed like Xiaomi and other brands have, but it's not bad, just okay, a bit faster than it used to be. It also has Qi wireless charging, but not Qi 2 for some reason, and still no magnets. Nonetheless, the maximum wireless speed of the Pixel 9 Pro XL is 23 watts, but it is achievable only with this Google Pixel Stand 2nd gen wireless charger, which is $79. But on the other hand, yeah, no magnets, a bit disappointing. But if you want to use your Pixel, let's say in the car, you want to fix it and charge it, and this is the right situation when these cases are needed more than ever. And on top of that, the smartphone is safely protected. So I bought these very attractive cases. All of them are magnetic, but unfortunately they're a bit pricey. One from Mouse and others from third-party brands. This one from Tori. In the box you got nice stickers. They claim it's a military-grade protection and scratch-resistant as well. It's kind of thin, but Mouse case even thinner. Minimal design, seems very sturdy. Quality is quite good and magnets are strong. So, mouse case, it's a UK brand. The packaging feels premium. They kind of partnered with Google, made for Google, your warranty, etc. And the case itself, this one undoubtedly the thinnest. The color called Real Red, but as you see, it's more of a pinky matte color. And to me, looks so dope, minimalist. Fit is perfect, feels so smooth in the hands and not slippery. Works with magnets chargers, and magnets are strong. Well, and finally this one is the most versatile one. Stand case from brand Taurus, sleek design compatible with MagSafe, 12-fit military grade protection. It has an integrated 360-degree kickstand. It's robust, stable, and all in all seamless. And this feature allows you to prop up your Pixel in any orientation, like this portrait mode, tilted further, or like this some landscape mode. Pretty versatile. Magnets are strong, charged with no questions. And all of these cables, chargers, cases, and everything mentioned in this video, I'm gonna put the links down below, so make sure you check that out. So the display, it's now a little bigger, a 6.8-inch display. It's an LTPO OLED Super Actua display, HDR10 plus, 486 pixels per inch, thin symmetrical bezels, just wonderful. The refresh rate is dynamic from 1 up to 120 Hz. Actually, I made a test and yeah, it's really 120 Hz even for browsers. Here we select smooth display, which is 120 frames per second. Then we visit testufo.com and yeah, it shows it. It's perfect. But if we put the iPhone to the test, this display also supports 120 frames per second here. But interestingly, for browser, it doesn't get you 120 FPS, just only 60. And there's a similar situation with the OnePlus 12 as well. When we select high, which is 120, the software gives just 60 frames per second for browser. But if we select auto select, it gives us the optimal refresh rate. And here is a little faster, 90 frames per second. Quite interesting though. By the way, check out my OnePlus 12 in-depth review, you're not gonna regret it. So all in all, Pixel definitely gives us a higher refresh rate, which is not bad actually. Clearly thumbs up. It has Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 and up to 2000 nits of HDR and up to just simple 3000 nits peak brightness outside. It is not like amazing numbers, but nevertheless, the panel itself looks bright enough actually. In vivid sunlight, everything is visible and easily readable. Of course, this screen is not the brightest one we've ever seen. Again, it's a cliche, China brands got some crazy decent specs on that, but specs wise and also visually, it's a little brighter than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But if we compare the Pixel 9 Pro to the regular Pixel 9, they got identical screen size, 6.3 inches. You can use the same case and screen protector for both of them. It fits perfectly. Same 120 Hz, which is excellent, same small bezels, same battery capacity, same thickness. But the little downside I see, it's not LTPO, it's just an OLED. It's not able to go down under 60 Hz. 300 nits less, just 12 gigs of RAM and only 2 cameras, no telephoto lens. So if money doesn't matter, of course it's worth adding an extra $200 and just get a Pro version. But other than that, the regular 9 appeals to me so much, as well as it gets some pretty interesting color options. I'm kinda looking forward to compare it to the upcoming regular new iPhone 16. Another new aspect I found about new Pixels that Google didn't tell us is the adaptive touch. Tucked under settings, display, touch sensitivity, and as we might see here, adaptive touch, and this feature is enabled like out of the box. So when that's enabled, touch sensitivity will automatically adjust to your environment, activities, screen protector, or even VET screen. In case if you're aware of your display and have thrown several screen protectors just in case, then you can toggle on this screen protector mode. By the way, despite being able to make it totally dim at night, you can actually go further and make your screen extra dim too. So it's more comfortable to read or something like that. So all in all, it's a nearly perfect, bright enough and responsive display with thin, minimal, almost non-existent bezels on all sides. On the same level with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I have no complaints about this display. And it's of course worth mentioning, for the first time in Pixel history, Google's handsets are rocking the same optical ultrasonic fingerprint sensor as the high-end Galaxy S24 series. A significant improvement over its predecessor with an optical sensor. It becomes 50% faster, but the most important thing, it doesn't light up, meaning when you place your finger on it, the area under your finger doesn't glow. It used to be sometimes annoying at night to our eyes, but nevertheless, there are still some people who remain fans of placing the fingerprint scanner in the power button. For me personally, I don't know, long ago I gave up using fingerprint scanner. Face unlock is way more convenient. By the way, you can make the ultrasonic sensor even faster and more reliable on your Pixel 9 series through a very easy technique, and it doesn't require any third-party assistance. We go into the settings, then scroll down to security and privacy. Here, device unlock, and select fingerprint face unlock. We enter our existing PIN and then we tap fingerprint unlock. So we gotta add more fingerprints. You can register the same finger up to 4 times, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here, and we're good to go. This technique registers your fingerprint from more directions, and since it's the same fingerprint, the chances of detection and recognition are higher than those of a single registered fingerprint. Of course, there's also face unlock, which is lightning fast and supposedly protected by some algorithms. Unfortunately, it is still just a face unlock. It's not something like Apple's Face ID. It doesn't work in a complete dim environment. And I'm gonna tell you now the reason why Google got rid of their own Face ID technology. Do you remember the times when in 2017 iPhone X came out? There was a Face ID for the first time. And after the arrival of Apple's Face ID, which uses a depth sensing and infrared camera called TrueDepth to map your face, Google executives signed off on a comparable technology, and Google's Pixel 4 released in 2019 called its infrared depth sensing setup U-Depth. It performed well, including in dark conditions, but the gear was quite expensive. And while Apple sells several hundreds of million iPhone annually, Google has topped out just a few million, preventing it from buying parts at the volume discounts Apple does. So that's why Google decided to get rid of U-Depth in the Pixel 5 in 2020 and including up until nowadays, due to costs and noting fingerprint unlock remains as an alternative. Face unlock on the new Google phones relies on a typical front camera, but unlike the previous U-Depth system, it cannot securely unlock apps and payments because Google says spoofing chances, such as by holding a user's photo, are greater than 20%. Above the 7% threshold, it requires to be considered most secure. But other than that, Face Unlock works pretty nice and quick, but in dark environment, you can just use your fingerprint unlock. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, the Honor Magic 6 Pro is the only Android smartphone nowadays which has, similar to Apple's Face ID, it's called 3D Secure Face Unlock. Nonetheless, new Pixels have an IP68. You can get it wet if necessary, meaning it's dust and water resistant, as well as 7 years of OS security and Pixel drop updates. So that's something that all of the latest Pixels devices get. Interestingly, it runs on Android 14, the same version that last year's Pixel 8 series came with. Google decided to move ahead quickly and release the new Pixels without waiting for the Android 15. If you're not aware, they usually present their new devices in Android in October, but this time they did it in August, possibly to get ahead of the iPhones, so we'll probably be updating to the new Android version somewhere in the fall. And of course, we got the Wi-Fi 7, and not the latest Bluetooth, it's just version 5.3. We got UFS 4.0, it supports high-quality codecs like aptX HD and others. The vibration is quite impressive, premium and haptic-y. Super briefly, temperature test. So in these 9 Pro models, they're still including the temperature sensor, where you can now actually monitor the temperature of yourself, where you couldn't really do that before or it wouldn't give you an accurate reading. So we open a thermometer app, here we see only object temperature. And I don't know, here should be a body temperature as well. I couldn't find it on both devices. OS is up to date, everything is fine. Here in the US, it has to work. In the Fitbit app, there is a section called body temperature, but you cannot measure, just log your temperature. But anyway, let's measure with the object temperature. Here are a bunch of settings. You might choose Celsius or Fahrenheit. Let's leave it Celsius, press plus, default. Here you can choose what material you're gonna measure, food, iron, metal, plastic, whatever, and we're gonna test it out with the object temperature. Let's imagine if we have had a body temperature section. In that case, we're gonna move the sensor across the forehead and over the temple as close as possible within 4 seconds. So it says 34.2 degrees Celsius. That still works quite accurate because the typical is 36.6, yeah. Or we can measure the temperature in the kitchen. Here I got my broccoli in boiling water and it shows 80 something degree, which is again seems typical. So that's pretty nice. It's built in if you want to use that. Talking about the hardware, the Tensor G4 unfortunately hasn't made a huge leap from the G3. First of all, it's worth noting that this new processor called the G4 is not actually a brand new processor, it's more like an updated version of the G3. It's kind of what we call in a car world restyling, just a refresh. It hasn't really improved much in benchmarks, the difference from the previous generation being only about 7%. If you enjoy gaming, you won't notice any difference in games compared to last year's Pixels. Speaking of games, I made a test for a couple of hours. I've been launching several games, PUBG, Warzone, Oddmar, and of course Subway Surf. All of them support 120 frames per second, and everything I set ultra max settings, etc. I played, ran around, everything works incredible, stable, no lags. The Pixel didn't heat up, just a little warm, which is nice. No wonder, since there's a new vapor chamber, and overall, the system runs very quick and smooth. It's like the iPhone of the Android smartphone world. And in this generation, it seems to justify that title for 100%. Nevertheless, yeah, in terms of performance, it hasn't really grown that much. For instance, the S24 Ultra is about 47% more powerful in benchmarks, and the throttling here is intense. If you put it under some heavy loads, The performance just drops like crazy, which is a shame. And you might ask why? That's because Tensor G4 was specifically designed and tuned to get the most out of Gemini. This is an incredible AI powerhouse smartphone. They've packed in a bunch of new AI features like Pixel Screenshots, Call Notes, Pixel Studio, AddMe, Pixel Weather App. They've improved Magic Editor, Low Light Panorama, Video Boost up to 8K, which we're gonna test out. And what else? What do I have left? So let's go through step by step. Firstly, instead of Google Assistant, there's now Gemini, which is an artificial intelligence. Google wants this AI to become your constant assistant, taking care of lots of tasks for you. In the settings, you can set by default which one you'd like to use. I've chosen Gemini, of course. But also, you got 10 different voices to choose from, but not too many languages. You can also activate it hands-free, even the screen is locked. Look at this. Hey Google. Looks like the future has arrived. Or moreover, you can enable swipe to invoke Gemini. For that, we go to Settings, Display and Navigation mode. In the gesture navigation, click on here and toggle on this swipe to invoke assistant. It allows you to swipe from the bottom corner inwards, either side, and that will wake Google Gemini right on top of any apps. By the way, all 3 Pro phones comes with the 1-year access to the latest Gemini Advanced and 2 TB of cloud storage with the Google One AI Premium. There is Gemini Live as well, the most natural way to interact with. You can have a free-flowing conversation with Gemini, and like I said, you can also use it on top of any apps. Let's activate it on YouTube app. We click Ask about this video, for example, to get a brief recap on the current video, which is quite useful. And also, we can use our existing image from the gallery or take a picture right in Gemini and ask anything you're interested in. Interestingly, works quite accurate. And of course, circle to search exists here. You search for anything, loads instantly. So, Pixel Weather App. They use AI to make the using weather app experience more helpful. Gemini generates a custom AI reports. You can customize all of these widgets. What you really need, you move it closer. In addition to providing weather updates, it now gives suggestions like don't forget your umbrella or you can wear shorts today. Well, I don't know, nothing too extraordinary, but yeah, the app itself is beautiful. It's been perfected, no doubt. Slick interface, everything is crisp. So we've got Pixel Studio. It's similar to Samsung where you can generate images on any topic you'd like using AI based on text descriptions. It seems like every brand is gonna have its own solutions for this. So if we wanna create something, we tap here, create, and let's say table at the ocean with a delicious sushi on it. Let's also add some night view and let's see how much time does it need. Oh, that's impressive. And the image is pretty accurate though. The lighting, the colors. Here we can choose styles with like video game, sticker or cinematic. Not bad, but I prefer without any styles. And you can swipe back to the original one and we can go further. Let's add some red wine with fruits and a beautiful lady. Yeah, why not? Oh, nice. But where's my beautiful lady? Google decided that I don't need anyone. But other than that, now this is kind of full and very nice picture. Everything here is ideal. It's completely generated. So overall, it doesn't work like perfectly. It's not that much accurate, but all in all, of course, it's nice to have this Pixel Studio. So Screenshots app, which is also a cool addition. All the screenshots you have ever taken on the device are stored here. It's gathering data and sort of organizing everything, but it takes some time to kind of figure everything out. I didn't want to wait that long, so I started to process each screenshot manually. Here you press process now, and when everything is processed, you see under any processed screenshot, we got a short description about what's going on here. Now I'm able to search the exact screenshot quickly that I really want. So let's search for Tesla screenshots, and yeah, it shows you exactly what you're searching for. So if you got a ton of screenshots and etc., in that case, of course, that's gonna be kind of very useful for some people. So, camera performance. Almost all the cameras here are the same cameras like on the 8 Pro, but don't get upset ahead of time. Google definitely know what they're doing. Because when it comes to Google, that means the software makes all the magic. Well, starting off with the back cameras, just one of them, the ultra-wide camera became a little bit brighter. The aperture now is f1.7 and there's kind of brand new 5x telephoto camera. I don't know what exactly is new here, but talking about the front side, there's a new camera on the front. Now it is 42 megapixels, same f2.2 aperture, but it became a bit wider, 103-degree field of view. Other than that, we have laser autofocus, raw images up to 50 megapixels, macro, speech enhancement, several types of video stabilizers, 10-bit HDR, 4K up to 60 frames, blur, pan, and time-lapse features also, slow-mo up to 240 FPS, and for the first time, we have an 8K video recording powered by Video Boost at only 30 FPS and only 1x or 5x angle. Quick spoiler, it's not a true 8K. And we'll get to that. And Google says that the Pixel camera is the world's first AI-powered camera. Easy Google, I trust you. But I gotta verify that info. Panorama. They bring HDR Plus pipeline to Panorama. They've rebuilt Pixel 9's Panorama mode, starting with the UI, which now intuitively guides your hand. Once you capture the full scene, Pixel runs the photo through the full image processing. And as well as the image processing includes NightSight. And of course, we cannot skip this praised NightSight Panorama. Well, interestingly, Pixel is really gonna get you 360-degree, while the iPhone captures less area, whatever reason. But hey, despite the fact that Pixel has this NightSight feature panorama, iPhone still seems a little more interesting to me. Or possibly we need a complete dim environment in order to see the Pixel's capabilities. But other than that, both look amazing. Pixel a bit longer, real 360-degree. And this is the daylight Pano check. And again, Pixel captures way more room in the frame. But aside from that, both panoramas are excellent. But I would say the Pixel has a slight edge on the highlights control as we see here. And by the way, the new AI features are also aimed at making our regular everyday photos even better, especially when it comes to night shots and videos. We're gonna dive deep into the video test just in a bit, but otherwise, the pictures are still amazing as usual. The quality might have improved slightly, but not by much. You can't trick the hardware, since the cameras are basically the same. So that's why, yeah, you won't see a mind-blowing difference compared to last year's model. But overall, the sensors are excellent, no questions about that, as well as the last year Pixel took great photos, and this one also handles perfectly. There is now an opportunity to take pictures with 20x or 30x zoom without losing image quality. I don't know. It's obvious that there's gonna be a heavy quality loss as you see, but they claim that AI kind of fill in the gaps. I don't know, it's not a usable footage. Well, during the day, alright, it might be somehow acceptable, but at night, it's also not that great, which is pretty much expected. In fact, they're roughly similar to the iPhone in this regard, with almost no difference in detail. Both are complete trash, except that the iPhone is slightly brighter. Otherwise, yeah, seems the same. But it will be quite exciting to compare side by side without any crazy zooms and crops. And these pictures, well, I don't know, overall they look pretty identical, just tiny difference. Even the white balance seems similar. Both delivered accurate colors. Here, look at this. I mean, when I was editing, I barely could see any difference, unless I was reading the file name. Of course theirs might be different, but it is that much tiny, almost non-existent. I just see on the iPhone the driver seems to be a little contrasty with the bluish color. Here iPhone colors look a little pop and brighter overall, while the Pixel dimmed and kind of gives you a washed out image, like natural looking picture. Well here, oh, I love these images. No major difference. Just Pixel got a little more saturation on red colors. And this one is a nice example of flare resistance control. Pixel really turned out better and cleaner, while iPhone looks like there's a mist filter applied on top of lenses, and some people might prefer this look. So during the day, all the smartphones nowadays take clean and detailed photos, and these sunlight images of beautiful park look kind of the same. The only some tiny difference might be on green color. In this example, Pixel definitely got some gold California vibe. iPhone also seems pretty accurate. Even here in dimmed environment, algorithm on both phones works quite similar. But in this case, to me, Pixel nailed it quite perfectly. And you can unquestionably see a bunch of details. Alright, I don't want to pixel peep like crazy. I really appreciate the time. I'm just giving you examples so you can gain some understanding of how good or bad each of these devices or flagships, whatever you name it, performing for the money. As you see, this new Pixel 9 Pro XL behaves pretty decent and accurate, as the previous 8 8 Pro was also quite dope in taking nice pictures, which is not surprising. Camera's almost the same, but as I said, there should be some quite substantial upgrade on video side. And of course, as always, I made a dedicated video test because I genuinely enjoy it and I'm indeed finding it interesting just like you do. So we got several options of how we can shoot the video, and right off the bat we notice that the 4K HDR is way brighter than the others, which is quite typical due to HDR algorithms, while the regular 4K looks kind of a bit washed out. But of course I much prefer here the imaginary 8K boosted video. The colors are really accurate, got some confident contrast and a tiny dim as well, while still maintaining a bunch of details. Definitely thumbs up to those pixel boost algorithms or AI stuff, whatever. But actually, first of all, it needs to start video boost. And of course, the same applies for the NightSight video. Obviously, the internet connection is required. I thought this time everything will be different and will be processed on the device entirely, but no, still on Google servers. So you gotta back it up for the video boost. Then it's gonna take some time, and my 1-minute shot took me about 1 hour and a half to get done. But if you look at the regular iPhone's footage, and I would say, first of all, let's put it close to this shot. It kind of looks similar to the regular 4K video. Both of these 4Ks definitely seem soft, have some sort of diffusion look, dreamy, hazy look, but in the middle of the frame, Pixel is controlling the highlights quite better to me. But other than that, you see all of these shots side by side and you can make your own decision. And speaking of this 8K boosted video, this is the exact video, and we might notice it consists of 2 pieces. Like this one is processed video and this is the simple one. If we look at the resolution, it's pure full HD. Got a file name cover at the end, and if we take a look at this file, it has a file name main at the end, and yeah, it's kind of bigger resolution, but it's not an 8K, it's close to 4K. But what's more interesting, when we actually open the files on a laptop, firstly, yeah, this main one is sort of dimmed flat like RAW or S-Log footage, and the bitrate is pretty dang impressive, 240 megabits per second. Consequently, the file size is comparably large. Feels like it's an 8K file's bitrate. And by the way, the OnePlus 12 is also able to shoot 8K, but in fact, it's not even close to true 8K. Difference in bitrate like really substantial. It just simply applies sharpening effect on top, and this is it. And if we get back to the 8K boosted, it consists of 2 files. You cannot transfer this final processed video. This boosted video is not on your phone, but it's on Google Clouds. So you cannot share it directly to your social media or your laptop or elsewhere without downloading it first. So I spent quite a decent amount of time, and I actually found 2 solutions, and both require you to mess around a little bit. First option, you need a laptop, and another one, you don't need anything. So transferring using a laptop. To do that, we go and find our boosted video, we create link, you gotta somehow open this link on a computer. You can do whatever way works best for you, but I've chosen Google Drive. Save. And on a computer, on Google Drive, we just open that text file, open the link, and we see our boosted video. You might watch it on 4K. On the upper right hand corner, we hit the triple dot and download. But keep in mind, unfortunately, it automatically downloads only 1080p footage. So the second solution is right on your device, you actually make a screen record. Open that boosted final video and record whole video. Then you just open that screen recorded file, and you have to crop top and bottom side and delete a little bit of the beginning and ending of the video. And that's exactly what I did in order to show you my boosted video in comparisons. And it really worked out just amazing. And the real benefit of this solution, this actually gives your video significantly more bitrate than the one you downloaded from Google. More bitrate means more information, bigger size, and eventually it's higher quality. And after all, where's the Google praised 8K? Nobody knows? I guess it's just a marketing myth. And you know what? This boost video feature itself is quite decent stuff, but I don't want to mess around with uploading and downloading or screen recording. It's a little complicated for some people and time consuming as well. It's not a breakthrough. If Google someday just makes it simple to use and only then it'll be a no-brainer feature. Alright, what about everyone's favorite topic, low light? Because we saw at the release, Google nicely told us about NightSight feature and stuff like that, so everything stays pretty much the same. The regular 4K on both phones seems quite close, but the Pixel is tiny bit cleaner overall. 4K HDR, me personally, feels like a complete trash at night. And of course, these two boosted NightSight videos look so clean and detailed with very accurate colors, almost non-existent noise. And 4K and an 8K looks pretty identical, no difference in resolution. No wonder, since we know that actually there is no 8K. And yeah, these NightSight videos also consist of 2 files, just a quick reminder. So all in all, what do we got? Everything is more or less quite clear now. This new Pixel takes pretty decent images as well as the previous 8 Pro. And of course the videos are on a great level. HDR video in the daytime is gonna get you crisp and vibrant shots with an awesome dynamic range. But being real, I'm not a huge fan of that HDR. This is a low light check between the two, and I guess it would be better if I turned off the HDR on the Pixel in order to get comparable results. But it feels like in this situation it's not bad actually. But in this 5x example, I'm more interested in the iPhone footage. Looks more sort of natural. Might be it's because of the turned on HDR on a Pixel. So in the camera app we get all of these bunch of different features here, and one of the new ones is called AddMe. This allows you to take a photo when you're not actually in the photo. So you take a picture, then you give to someone your device to take another picture holding the same frame. So I put the Pixel on a tripod. I have this Bluetooth kind of remote. I took the first image and then changed the position to take the second shot. And yeah, definitely an interesting feature. It might come in handy someday. Let's say if you don't have any friends at the moment and you can only add yourself twice, no more than that. So the conclusions, finally. Everything is pretty obvious. The global change, the global difference here is the design. Personally, I unquestionably like the strict angular body more than the previous generations. And the camera bar looks dope too, right? So they managed to fundamentally refresh the design while still maintaining the recognizable design code because, well, it's a true Pixel. What else is new here? I don't know. The chip is just 10% faster. For 99% of cases, you won't notice anything. There is still no 8K video recording, we just get a look of that 8K with help of boost. The rear camera is almost the same. Yeah, the front camera is new. They've just improved the image processing with neural network, and that's it. All of these new AI stuff are of course cool and indeed useful. All the photo and video innovations and etc. But if you have a Pixel 8 Pro or even 7 Pro, and you're still happy with the device, I don't think it's necessary to switch to the new one unless you care about the new design, AI features, or new smaller size Pro version. And as I said, the processor in raw numbers is much weaker than the current Snapdragons or Bionics. By the way, I've tried those smartphones and this one really feels so polished. But on paper and benchmarks, the S24, Xiaomi's OnePlus 12 should wipe the floor with the Pixel. But the software here is so optimized and again, nicely polished. I have no complaints. No bloat or pointless features, just clean and smooth software. These 9 Pro and Pro XL are definitely the best Pixels among all Pixels. The best Pixel yet. And you'll have to just accept the price tag, because the price is pretty damn high. Remember the Pixel 7 Pro launched at $1,000 with 256 gigs is now overshadowed by the new Pixel 9 Pro XL at $1,200, lacking significant upgrades to justify the higher price. But if you don't care about the design, about polished system, photo, video, AI experience, and just want a big phone for everyday use cases, and maybe you play heavy games, you can choose something like OnePlus 12. It has an excellent hardware, it's significantly cheaper. I bought it new on a Prime Day for just $700 with half terabytes of storage. By the way, check out my detailed review on that. Or of course there are some other solid options like Xiaomi's, Honor, Realme, or just Samsung. You get everything: performance, cameras, battery, etc. But I guess if you're watching video about pixels, that means you're tired of those crazy spec devices. But yeah, I know there is something special about these new pixels. Its design, very elegant and minimalist. But still, I wouldn't recommend buying this for $1,100. Don't get me wrong, this is one of my favorite looking Android devices. Possibly because of its similar design or something, but adds its own unique touch, not too complicated, intuitive, predictable. And like I said in the beginning, I purchased both of these with a pleasing discount, and this smaller Pro is my absolute favorite. So just wait for the promotions or some discounts and stuff like that, and get it a little cheaper like exactly I did, and you're gonna be absolutely happy. But of course, if money totally doesn't matter and you're ready to pull the trigger, just get up, go and get it right now. You're not gonna regret it. Whew, I'm done. I did it. See you guys in the next one.